wabarakatuh. I'm Malaiqa.
And I'm Rudaina.
And welcome back to this episode of Muslimah Nook. Today, we're going to be talking about protecting my peace.
Protecting your peace, protecting my peace, protecting our peace. The reason why we chose this topic, it was because it's like a very like personal topic, because I feel like I preach about protecting your peace a lot. Like I'm always like, I need to protect my peace. I need to protect my peace.
You sound so good.
Because sorry. Okay, like can you like explain like what we were talking about before?
Okay, so when we were deciding on like this week's topic, we wanted to like talk about something that's kind of personal, because we know like there's like we want to like build like kind of like a good connection with you guys, and I feel like this is something we talk about all the time with each other, because it's like a big priority for us and something that we're really like working on, especially during this Ramadan. So we wanted to share a bit about that.
Yeah.
So
No,
go ahead.
So when we were discussing what like protecting our peace meant to us, I was like asking her like, okay, so let's be on the same page when we're like talking like this week, like when we're discussing. And I was like, okay, can you explain what protecting your peace is? But I don't know if you remember the exact thing that she said, but can you just like can you just please like say something? Because I was like shocked. I was like, no way this is the way she interprets it, because she doesn't like really seem like somebody. I just always feel like, mashallah, she's always at peace, and I'm always like the chaotic one. I'm always like, everything in my life is like so stressed. I'm so stressed about everything, every little detail in my life, and she's always kind of like, I got everything figured out. And I was like, okay, so what does protecting your peace mean to you? Because I also look at her as like inspiration or whatever.
Yeah, your biggest role model.
In terms of that, because I think after, alhamdulillah, we became friends. I think there was a moment where I kind of learned how to protect my peace in another way. So can you just explain what protecting your peace means to you?
Okay, so what I was explaining was that like, okay, I was honestly kind of nervous because sometimes I like lack a bit of like social cues. I was like, did I get like the wrong message with this type of phrase when I was like explaining it to her? But I thought like protecting your peace is like making decisions, conscious decisions, to avoid adding stress to your life, and to also like try to like remove stress from your life. So
And like adding unnecessary stress to your life.
Unnecessary stress to your life. And I feel like that's like a big priority for us, because, like there's so many things that we can be stressed out about, but like choosing to just be at ease all the time just feels so much better.
Yeah.
Like, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. And especially as like students, especially as like people who like, we're like young minds who are going into this world, and sometimes we feel like we know everything and we have to like get these goals done, and we're just like trying to like move and like, how do I say this? Like we're always on like the go. We're always on the rush, because we're always like, after this, next thing. What's the next thing? What's the next thing?
And it's like a thing in our society to like be so engaged in this like hustle culture. You're always like focusing on like your next like upcoming thing, and you never like take a moment to like appreciate stuff. Yeah. Okay, but before we get into this topic, because we know like that some of the things we talk about might be like a little bit personal, we wanted to give a little bit of like an introduction to ourselves so that you feel more comfortable with us and we feel more comfortable like with you guys sharing our opinions and our perception of this type of stuff. So Rudaina's gonna go ahead and start with her introduction.
I don't really know how to introduce myself. I guess like I'm a student, so I'm a grade 11 student. I'm literally a high school student who's coming on this podcast just to like share my, I guess, views and ideas and my mindset, and how the things that the little things, because there's so many other things that I will go through in life, but the little things that I've gone through so far, and how those experiences kind of like shaped me to who I am, and like what I've learned, and like I guess like I really want to use this podcast as a way to reach especially like young Muslims, to be like, hey, it's okay, and these things will happen, and tests will happen, and here's like a little advice from like somebody who's kind of just been through some things, who can like help you out, because it's really difficult. Really difficult. And
and like one of our goals with like starting this podcast was to be able to like give dawah with this podcast in a way by like making other Muslims just like ourselves feel like a lot more like comfortable to like talk about these type of issues, and to have somebody to like maybe like look it's like not like look down upon, but like the reverse,
look up to.
Look up to. Okay, look up
What?
to. We wanted to have like for like younger Muslims to like have somebody to like look up to, because like I mean I don't think like we're like that high
No,
and
no,
stuff
no.
like that,
Like,
but I
like,
do think we've experienced stuff that like maybe like we wouldn't want other people to have to go through. So we'll talk about what we
yeah.
learned from that.
No, no, no. And it's not like, okay, like look up to us like inspiration, role models. Like, no, but it's like, here's a perspective of like what we've been through and how we like dealt with it. And, you know, if we didn't deal with it the right way, or like, here's what we learned, and here's how maybe, here's some like things maybe you can implement in your life. Because like when you have somebody else to talk to, or when you're listening to other people's like perspectives, you get new ideas to implement into your life. Like when I'm talking to her, when I see her, when I like see her like implement certain things into her life, I'm like, let me imitate that, because I feel like it's working for her, so let me try it out, and maybe it'll work for me, you know?
Also, like we know a lot of people aren't able to have like good like Muslim friends, which alhamdulillah, like we're so grateful for like our friendship and for like having like such a tight community to like the masjid and like our masjid friends and stuff like that. But we know that a lot of people don't have that, and you need good Muslim friends in order to be able to grow as a Muslim, because if not, you're just being pulled into like fitna like over and over again. So
so
we wanted to like be able to like provide that community for like the young Muslims just like ourselves.
And just you know, kind of be like a relatable kind of sit down, let's talk. And so that's why like the episodes that we choose, like it's like, you know, stuff that we go through, stuff that, you know, we want to talk about, and we want to be like, hey, like it's okay if you're going through something, or here's how you can like, you know, kind of deal with it. Like you don't have to follow it, but just listening to somebody else talking about their stuff, it gives you like, you know, hope, or it gives you like, you know, motivation even sometimes to like,
and it feels like you're going through exactly what everyone else is going through. You feel like a sense of belonging and stuff like that. You don't feel so strange and like lonely in like this world. Anyways, so protecting your peace.
So again, so as I was saying, like I'm a grade 11 student, I'm in high school, and it's very like, it's weird because we're in like such a small world. Like our world is so small, and we think we know like everything, and we think we know what we want to do, or you know what we have to do, or get the best grades, or we have to like, you know, be ahead of the game, start making money right now and stuff like that. When we don't realize that everything happens with sabr. Like you're not going to change the world right now. That's not going to happen. Like you just have to be realistic with yourself. Do little things, do your part right now, and you know, do things that you can do with yourself. It's okay. Like I feel like we always feel like, oh, maybe we're not doing enough, and you know, like we're never like we're not excelling in something. We don't always have to be excelling at something. Like it's frustrating because it's like you just want to be the best, because everybody's like competing with each other, especially in this dunya. Like everybody's just competing to be the best, make the most money, blah 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 blah. And you're literally like, for example, for me, I'm literally like 16 years old. Like I can calm down, I can take it slow, I can appreciate what I have right now in my life.
And protect your peace. So protecting your peace is like kind of a vast topic, because there's a lot of things that we do in our lives that add like excess stress into our lives that doesn't need to be there. But like so there's like a lot of like different like categories. I guess like socially there are things you can do to like protect your peace, but also like academically, and then just like worrying about stuff like anxiety and stuff like that in general, like that you add onto yourself, that's like completely unnecessary, which doesn't make sense right now, but as we go through it's going to make more sense. So what do you think, how are we going to phrase this? What is one thing that you do or that you're trying to do to protect your peace?
I think the biggest thing for me is like not worrying about what other people have to say. And this can include like so many people. It can include like, you know, friends, or just like peers at school, or even sometimes your parents. Not like that I don't care about what they have to say, but just kind of like zoning in and focusing on what I actually want. Because we have to get to know ourselves. Like I feel like part of protecting your peace is getting to know yourself, spending time with yourself, like figuring out what you kind of want to do. And like, and just like, so I feel like the biggest thing is like zoning in, focusing on me, and especially my relationship with Allah, and then just like, you know, narrowing down everything in my life, because there's so many distractions that I have to like, kind of close it in,
Yeah.
So
And I feel like we touched on this a bit in the modesty episode when we were talking about how like seeking like validation from like other people can be so difficult, which there are good forms of validation. There are a few people's opinions who you should care about, right? And but like when you start worrying about like what every single person thinks about you, you're losing your peace. You're adding excess stress into your life that doesn't need to be there. And when you have this excess stress, it like limits your productivity. It just like makes you like feel like off like all the time. You can't feel like comfortable with yourself. You can't ever be like at ease when you constantly have things like piling up in your mind, adding excess stress. So one thing for us, that like we've been working on, especially like this year, over the past year, like to protect our peace and to avoid excess stress in our lives, is to like maintain our identity with everyone. And I know that's like a very vast topic, but I don't know, like I guess it's a big one.
Being confident, and like not just confident, being real with yourself and being real with people around you. Like not having like a two-faced identity, like one with your parents and one with your friends, which like sometimes like obviously you're not going to do everything in front of your parents like what you do with your friends and talk about with your friends. Like obviously you're not going to, like I was talking to my mom about this, but she was like, you're not going to get like the same type of fun you will with people your own age than with like me, which is, with her. Like like you obviously, there's differences, but not being like, not like lying to them, or not like, completely like, I guess like completely like distancing them from your life and from your personal life. They'll understand. Like if you talk to them, I promise you they're good. Inshallah, they're gonna understand. Like they're gonna, like if you sit down and have like these honest conversations, these open conversations about things you're feeling and like things that they might be frustrated with, just like keep it like, stable, like keep it a stable conversation, being like, hey, like voluntarily go to them and be like, hey, maybe this is bothering me, or like, hey, like this I feel like sometimes I feel like this when you say this, or whatever it is. I promise they're gonna understand, because
Inshallah.
Inshallah. But like I think like sometimes like we have like these difficult conversation, or like frustrated conversation when people are mad, and so communication is like it's not going through properly. And so like when you have these sit down conversations, they're gonna realize, hey, like maybe like she's like actually maturing, because sometimes parents are like, my kid is just a kid, they don't know anything.
And the thing is, like when you are like hiding things from your parents, they start to like not know who you are, right? And they start to like have this like image of like who you are in their head, which is like the little girl that they raised. Because when you started like maturing, that's when you started going astray from them, and then they like lost touch of you basically. So you need to like always like be in communication with your parents. And we know like not everyone has like the best relationship with their parents, of course. Like sometimes like parents, like what they want for you is not what you want for yourself, and we get that, of course. Like we've gone through like struggles and stuff like that, where like I feel like my parents are being irrational, and like you feel like your parents are being irrational. But like it's really important to like be able to have open conversations with your parents. And like I know like we're always like caught up in like trying to like have fun and live our lives and stuff like that, but sometimes you need to sacrifice things to please your parents.
And that's okay. Like I feel like the reason why like lying to your parents, it just brings extra stress. Like you're always like, okay, what if I get caught? What if this happens? What if that happens? Like what if like, if they find out this, or blah blah blah, whatever it is. Like it's like adding unnecessary stress. But when you're honest and open with them, if you're like, hey, I'm going to this party, or if I'm doing this, and they just know where you are, they're not gonna bother you. Like they're just gonna like for the most part, like how much they might text you a couple times if they're like that worried. But for the most part, like what are they gonna do? They're not there. They're not gonna, and you have to
and then you don't have to be worried. You don't have to be like, oh, I said I'm gonna go to my friend's house, and now I'm gonna go to a party. This is speaking from our own experience. Okay, I guess we'll share our story.
No, we're not sharing a story.
Okay, generally there was this one instance where
I feel like this kind of really changed, like, like they,
yes, this definitely invoked change in us.
Yeah. So like, we would like, we wouldn't go to parties, but like, we would like, go places, and I wouldn't necessarily tell my parents exactly where I was going, and I'd just be like, yeah, I go to her house. And then, like, first Loki kind of just started off like, oh yeah, like I'm going to her house, but then like we'll walk to like, whatever, bubble tea or whatever, some store. But then it started to be like, oh, I'm going to her house, but then I would go like a little bit further and further and further. And then one day, oh my god, one day I get caught. Like I just get caught. And but like, alhamdulillah, it's okay.
Okay. Wait.
Okay.
A bit about the emotions. So, like, on the way back from somewhere,
this is like I'm living my trauma again. Like, why are you bringing this up? Like,
okay, but just to note, we didn't do haram stuff. We were having fun, like having halal fun, which we'll talk about later on. But this form of halal fun wasn't something that was communicated with the parents. Okay?
Yeah.
So we were like on the way back, and then we found out that like her parents knew.
We have to do like all the details. Like, why are you like thinking this? Like,
okay, her parents. Okay. Her parents found out. I wasn't lying to my parents because I'm such a good child, but I was lying to my parents about her parents knowing where she was going. So,
but okay. Bottom line, whatever. Blah blah blah. Stuff happened.
Bottom line. We were super stressed. We were so stressed on the walk back. On the
walk
back.
Oh my god, I was like gonna cry. I was like,
both of us were like borderline tears because we're like, we're gonna be in such big trouble. We were so stressed the whole time. Then once we got home, we were still stressed. And then we went to like a masjid, like tafsir or something like that together in the evening. We were so stressed waiting. I think we got home at like 7 something.
No, like, so after Maghrib and then like some other times. It was like around like 9.
It was not 9.
No,
because tafsir was like.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like home from tafsir.
No. Okay.
Oh, home from like
going out. It was like 7 something. Yeah. But then we went to tafsir at like maybe 8 something. We got home like maybe like 9:30, something like that. The entire time we were so stressed. We were so stressed. Like my heart was like racing the whole time because I'm like, my parents are gonna kill me. Her parents are gonna kill her. Her parents are gonna be upset. My parents are gonna be upset. When is the next time we're ever gonna be able to go out?
Yeah, I was like, I'm never gonna be able to go out after this. Like, this is it. This is done.
Like, actually, we did not go out for a while after that because we were like, we gotta get on better terms with our parents. We gotta sort this issue out. Like, we gotta get our parents to like trust each other and like
trust us
and yeah. But alhamdulillah, we overcame that, and now like we have built much stronger relationships with our parents because of it. And you can speak on your experience.
Yeah, so I feel like because like of that, I'm like, okay, like I just really hated the fact that, like my mom didn't like trust me with some like going out or something like that. Oh my god, my hijab. No, but like my mom didn't like trust me with going out, and I felt super ashamed because I was like, what, like, was that worth it? It wasn't even worth it.
It wasn't worth it.
Like, it literally wasn't worth it. And I was like, why don't I just like tell her, like come up with a compromise? Because not everything's gonna be your way or the highway. And trust me, like you're still so young, and your parents obviously want the best for you. Like, I promise, the whole world will betray you except your parents. Your parents will always be there for you.
Yeah.
And your parents will, In Sha Allah, they'll be understanding. Like, if you communicate with them and if you're open with them and you tell, like, you like really show yourself, they're not gonna be like judgmental. They're not gonna be like, who is this girl? They're gonna understand. Like, they're gonna understand that she's a teenager. She's like, she wants to do things. She wants to hang out with her friends, or she wants to whatever. Like, most likely, inshallah, inshallah, make dua for your parents if they don't understand. But like speaking from my experience, like, I feel
they will understand, inshallah.
Yeah.
Once you start communicating properly and don't do stuff that are gonna make your parents upset. Like, don't test their patience and don't like break their trust if it's just gonna end up worse in the end. Just
but also, like, if they're like unnecessarily like like strict, or like if you think they're being like irrational, talk about it. Be like, come up with a compromise and talk about it, and be like, yo, like, I feel like this isn't really like necessary. I just feel like this is maybe too much.
And like, what is the reason?
Like, why express your feelings and be like, hey, can you just let me know what the reason is? And I just and I know some parents are just like, because I said so, that's it, like, but then I feel like you can, I don't know, it's really difficult, but try to have like a sit down conversation, and maybe have conversations about other things, and like like build a stronger connection with your parents before you be like, so like, yo, like what was the reason? Can you just like, you know, because
exactly, like
everyone, like I feel like just humans, like we need to like, you know, build like a connection with people, and we need to like, in order for me to be like nice with my sister, she's gonna do like something super nice to me and stuff like that, and she's gonna be like, okay, we're on good terms right now, so yeah, like can I play games on your phone?
yeah, like if your parents are like upset with you about something, don't start the conversation of like, why are you disciplining me like this? Because they're just gonna get more upset with you. But once the situation has calmed down, you need to compromise on that situation. First of all, give up going out one day because you're looking at like, you're focusing on the main goal, which is like getting your parents to be okay with you going out regularly. So like after like letting like the situation calm down, then you can have like an open, honest conversation with your parents of like, why do you discipline me this way? And I know it for my parents, if I like ask to go out and if it's something they're saying no about, and then I start asking why, then it's like a whole list of like everything I've done wrong ever. Right? But if I wait for the situation to calm down, we compromise. They actually turns out like maybe they don't want me to go out because I'm missing out on like doing some kind of like ibadah or something like that. Like I'm like it's like a waste of time or something. They think like, oh, it might be dangerous or something like that. Like I get like a valid reason if I
and then
wait
you
for the
can maybe
situation to
even
calm
explain
down.
your side, be like, but like this and this and this, and you know, eventually like there's certain things maybe you're gonna like, they're gonna let you do, and you can just take advantage and like use those opportunities to like, you know, have fun and stuff like that, instead of being like, oh, I want to do like everything all at once all the time.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, like connecting
Have
back,
patience.
connecting back to like having sabr. You're not gonna get everything that you want all at once. You know, with fun comes hard work. Like you gotta like think to yourself, like what did I do to deserve like always having fun and stuff like that,
Exactly.
you know?
Like, what did you do for your parents? I know for me specifically, like before I can ask to go out, I have to make sure like I get my work done. I got to finish like doing like the vacuuming and like the cleaning that I need to do so that my parents can see I did something today, and maybe I get to have a little reward of like going out. But your parents, they're not going to say yes if you have so much work left to do, because they're like, what did you do to like deserve going out like this?
And honestly, I feel like that's something like right now your parents are keeping you accountable, but this is something you should keep accountable for like the rest of your life. Like, why would this dunya isn't for just fun. Okay, let's start there. And there's nothing wrong with having fun. And I feel like even if you have like a lot of fun, but you're also doing like hard work, and within your hard work you also enjoy it because you feel like this is going to help me in my akhirah or like dunya or whatever it is. Like if you really like to, you know, do something, like enjoy something to progress in your career, right? It's still hard work. And just because you enjoy it doesn't invalidate that. But you need to realize there has to be a progression of something, whether it's in your deen, whether it's in your like, you know, dunya, whatever it is, for you to be like, okay, now let me take my relax. You're not on relax mode here. This isn't Jannah. Like,
exactly. This is supposed to be like the work life. This is where you're like on your like grind set mindset, trying to get into Jannah and like a higher level in Jannah too. Inshallah. But also speaking on like your relationship with your parents, a really important thing is like accepting parental opinions. We know like sometimes your parents say stuff and it sounds bad just because it's coming out of your parents' mouth. Just like their like advice on like somebody who's your friend and like how they like don't like this person, or they just get like bad vibes from this person. They don't trust them. They think they're fake and stuff like that. Like you're like, what the heck? Like this is somebody I'm really close with. Like I don't know like
how do you know them more than I do? This is my friend.
Your parents, like they have lived so much longer than you. They have so much more experience than you. They have met so many more people than you have, and they have gone through so much more hardship than you. Like your parents have gone through so much and they have so much more experience. They know like most of the time they're like right about this person. If they think this person is fake, they're probably fake.
You know,
if your
because
parents
actually
don't like
surprisingly how many times my mom was correct.
Exactly.
It's actually crazy.
It's
like
crazy. She's like a little psychoanalyzer.
Yeah, she is.
Anyways, but like it's really important to accept your parents' opinions because it also helps build trust with them. Because they're like, they don't think you're just shutting down everything that they say. And when you're shutting down everything that they say, they want to say more no more often, because they're like, anyways, you're gonna disagree with me. Anyways, you're gonna do whatever you want.
Yeah,
so,
it's like both sides being stubborn, and it's like,
yeah.
again, like that compromise. And this just, like, when you have that, compromise, when you have like that good relationship with your parents,
Yeah.
I feel like it brings more peace into your life, because you're not hiding who you are, you're not hiding what you do, and hiding yourself,
and hiding who you hang out with, like just like hiding your friends, hiding your experiences, hiding what you like, what you dislike, like
it's
your
so
goals
suffocating. It's literally so suffocating.
Yeah,
it's like,
and then it's like more difficult, because you're like, oh, what am I supposed to tell this person? What did I tell my mom? Like, what was the lie I told her for this experience? What was the lie I told her for that experience?
You're like, you have to like rethink, retrace your steps. It's just so, it feels like,
it feels suffocating.
Yeah.
When you be open and honest with your parents, wallahi, like, it feels like a weight has been lifted off of your shoulders, because you feel so much more free.
Yeah, and that's another thing, like, just adapt to the people who are with you right now. Like, you know, your parents are not gonna be here forever, and they're not even gonna have authority over you forever either. So like, just be
and following what your parents say, that's like sunnah too. Like, the Prophet ﷺ would encourage you to like follow your parents, accept their opinions. You should be trying to please your parents. You should be the coolness of their eyes, right?
Yeah,
like
it's some like there's an ayah that's like something about like like basically like it was like obey Allah, and in the same ayah and sentence it was like obey your parents as well. And that's something my dad always brings up whenever like thing. But actually though, like,
they're right.
Yeah, like, they're right, but
most of the time what they say is completely based.
Yeah,
they know what they're talking about.
Exactly, they do. But the thing is, like, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to listen to this, because like it's just like sometimes people use things to their advantage, and it's just really annoying. But like, just, I feel like the biggest thing is rationalize yourself, which is another thing about protecting your peace. Rationalize yourself. Like, for example, for example, like, if you're like, like, say you like like you wear an abaya to school, okay, and you feel like everybody's like looking at you feel like you're being super judged. Rationalize yourself.
Be real. Like, don't be stupid. Like, nobody cares about you. Like, nobody cares.
No, okay, don't say it like that, but like, it's true, as in like, nobody is like, even if they are judging, rationalize yourself and think about why you're doing this. Focus, narrow it down. Again, narrow it down. It's between you and Allah. The reason why you're dressing modestly, the reason why you're like, wearing an abaya to school, it's because of you and Allah. It's because your relationship with you and Allah, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, why care about what anyone else has to say? Like, I just feel like when you are focused on your life, when you're focused on your goals, and when you have things to do, you don't waste time like thinking about what other people are saying, and you find peace in what you do, because these are things that you want to do. These are your goals. These are your, you want to accomplish something. You want to, do something. Like, learn who you are, figure out who you are. We don't know who we are because we're so busy with all these other things. Like, we're busy with our grades, we're busy with pleasing other people, we're busy with so many other things. We forget, we don't even know ourselves. Like, we don't know what we want to do. We don't know what our purpose is in this dunya, like how we can help.
And I feel like because we're so caught up in like always worrying about like what is like the next thing we have to accomplish, and like worrying about like pleasing other people and stuff like that, you lose touch, and you like miss out on the opportunity to like learn about yourself, because you should know yourself. You should know what you like and what you want to do. And then when it comes time, like, especially for us, like, we focus so much on like grades now, and like the grades and everything. Like, we forget, like, what do we want to do in the future? Why am I taking chemistry this year? Like,
no,
is it
no, literally, like, I feel like, especially like recently, I've just been so caught up in like, oh, what do I want to be in the future? Like, will I get in? Will I do good? Will I blah 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 blah? Like, there's so many things that I'm just like so overwhelmed and stressed about, that I just don't get to focus on the things I can work towards it and wait and have patience.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be living in like, a hi-fi apartment and like downtown and making like 6 figures. Like, that's right, like straight out of, university or whatever. I mean, it could happen. May Allah like bless you, but it's like, be realistic and be okay with that. Be okay with it. Like, you don't have to like stress yourself out or feel like you're less accomplished because you're not earning 6 figures right when you graduate or whatever it is. Like,
and like yesterday we were talking to each other about like, you know, your life is basically just like a book. Like Allah's just like playing out the book like it's like a video, right? Like, you need to have patience. You're unable to see the bigger picture because you're caught up into like in like your emotions and like whatever you're doing right at that moment. You're unable to see like the grand scheme of things. Like, you know, like in a storybook, maybe like a character goes through some hardship for like this like character development arc.
So like we were saying like how like everything is literally written. Everything is written. And like everything that you do, all you have to do is just live it and play your part and just go with it. Because like, and if a hardship comes, if something comes, it's for the plot. It's making your story more interesting.
Exactly.
Just you got to think about it like that, because we get so caught up. We're like, oh my God, like one test just brings us so down. And I feel like something that we should focus on is when we have these tests, turn back to Allah. Like realize,
use everything as an opportunity to get closer to Allah. Like, every stress that you go through should be an opportunity for you to get closer to Allah. Every good thing that happens to you should be an opportunity for you to get closer to Allah. Because if you don't get closer to Allah through your experiences, then there won't be barakah in your experiences. Because you're like letting it get to your head, and you're letting it like support your nafs and your like desires and stuff like that. You're not using it as an opportunity to get closer to Allah. And like, part of protecting your peace is being grateful for absolutely.
I was literally thinking that right now. Like, I was like thinking that right now.
There's been too many like occurrences where we're like the same person.
Okay, you. But
anyways, like, part of protecting your peace is being grateful for absolutely every single thing that happens to you. Because
okay, continue.
Because like hardship happens to you for a reason, right? Like, this is what Allah planned out for you. You have your own plan of how you want to live your life and how you want to like ace every test and how you want to get into this great university and stuff like that. But Allah is like the best of planners.
Exactly.
He is literally like the Almighty. He created the plan. Like, how can you even question that his plan doesn't go along with your plan? Because he sees everything. He knows everything. Like,
exactly. Like if you don't get into that university of your dreams, and like allow like, you have to trust in Allah's plan, because what if you getting into that university strayed you away from Allah?
Exactly.
Like, you never know. And whatever it is, it's just like, you have to realize that things are not gonna go according to your plan. And that's something I feel like for me was something like very like difficult to, it's not like difficult to accept, like I know it, but it's like difficult to like be like, okay, it's gonna be okay, because
it's difficult to implement and it's difficult to practice.
Exactly. And I feel like when I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like when things don't go my way, I'm just like, okay, things are never gonna, this is just never gonna happen. And I always get scared of that instability. Like, because I created like a solid plan, I'm like, this is what's gonna happen, this is what's gonna happen. And if something doesn't go according to that plan, I'm like, what do I do? There's instability in my life, and I get super scared because I'm just a person who's really scared of change. Like,
and me too. Like, for example, like when we have like tests and stuff like that, let's say I get like, not let's say, this has happened many times. I get a grade on a test that I wasn't really happy about. And I'm somebody who really like studies hard for tests, and I really value like my academics like a lot, right? I make so much dua for every single test. Like, I'd be praying tahajjud for like 3 days in a row, which is not a big deal at all. Not a big deal. Like but I just like, I'll pray tahajjud, and like my sole dua is the fact that I want to get like a really good grade on like this test or something like that, right? And then when it doesn't happen, I just feel so disappointed. I'm like, did my dua not work? Is Allah mad at me for something? When literally, like, I forget that like this is his plan, right? Like, he planned this out. He's like, you're not gonna get like a high grade on this test because that's what I have planned for you. Like, this is gonna teach you something, and this is gonna be an opportunity for you to get closer to me. But like, I forget, like, I'm supposed to say alhamdulillah for everything. I'm supposed to be grateful that like Allah put this in my plan.
You know, like, I was like getting really stressed about my grades like at one point, and I was listening to like this podcast on tahajjud by, I think, Islamic Feelings, and I was just listening to that podcast, and I just needed somebody who could relate to me on like, you know, grades at school and academics, because I feel like everybody's like, you know, maybe it's like job or marriage or whatever that people are like super stressed about in their life. And grades, honestly, in retrospect, it's not really like
it's
that
minute, like it's tiny.
it's not that big of a deal. But right now, in that moment, I was like, oh, like I need to get my grades up. Like I just feel like super like stressed out, and I just felt like super unaccomplished. I just, like I just felt dumb. Like I was just like, really unconfident. But anyways, I was like listening to that the Hajjat podcast, hoping that she would talk something about grades, because she is like I think she's like a recent graduate from high school, so she's in her first year university. I'm not sure though, but I was just like, and so she did talk like a little bit about like grades, and she's like, it's okay, like it's okay if you don't have the best grades, like some like, but then she was also like saying how like, oh, just pray the Hajjat, and like like the magic of the Hajjat, like if you want your grades, you want to pass a test. And she was giving her examples, like the Hajjat miracles. And I was like, I've been praying the Hajjat, and for some reason my grades are still not where I want them to be.
Yeah.
And I was like getting so frustrated, because I was like, okay, yeah, like I trust in Allah 100%, 1000%. I have all my trust in him. But like I get scared, because I'm like, what, like how else am I gonna, improve? How else am I gonna get into a good university? How else am I gonna, progress in my career? Whatever it is, like
it's scary when there's so much like uncertainty. We don't know what is coming next. Like Allah sees it. Allah knows what is gonna come next in your story, but you don't know. So then you feel like so like scared and stuff like that, because you're like, it feels like a bad occurrence right now. You're unable to see that it can go up from there.
Yeah, and it's like also scary, because I was also telling her this last night. I was talking to you about this last night, but like we're like part of like the 0.001 population of like living in like a comfortable lifestyle, living in like the Western world, where like we have access to like all these like resources and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know if that can just be taken away from me any second, and that's a lost test on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel so unprepared. But especially for dunya, when you're comparing yourself, always compare yourself to people who have less than you. And people who have less than me, they're doing okay, alhamdulillah. Allah is taking care of them. And people like, and for my deen, like like when I'm focusing on my akhirah, then I have to like compare myself to people who are doing better than me.
Yeah. So, and like I was listening to like an episode of like the Digital Sisterhood podcast, and they were talking about how like when you like prioritize your deen, their experience was like becoming like niqabis, right? Like how it was like, it's such a big step to like become a niqabi. I'm not a niqabi. I'm just a hijabi, but I cover my face like for like the podcast, because I don't want it to be like displayed publicly. But like to become a niqabi, it's like a really huge step, and it's like something that you're like judged for like in every aspect of your life by a lot of people, right? Like finding a job, like finding somebody to get married to, like just like in like regular social situations, blah blah blah. I'm getting off track. But she was talking about how like when you sacrifice something for the sake of Allah, Allah will provide. So all you have to do is like focus on Allah and focus on like getting closer to Allah and prioritizing Allah in every aspect of your life.
Never compromising on your deen.
Never compromising on your deen. Compromising on every single thing but your deen. You can compromise on those friendships. You can compromise on going to that party. You can compromise on hanging out with your friends this one day. Compromise on doing well in school because you want to focus on reading the Quran more. Or like even like like Hifz kids and stuff like that. They skip like 3 years of school, maybe even more than that, like of like elementary school, where like
or even high school,
even high school, like
any point in you like
life. You're like kind of like socially isolate yourself from like whatever's going on and live in like a little bubble for like 3+ years to focus on like Allah and focus on like memorizing the Quran for his sake. And that's so amazing, because
and always like renew your intentions that, hey, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah. And when you're focusing on your deen and everything, your life becomes so peaceful. Like, because you don't care, again, you don't care about what other people have to say. You don't care about the dunya expectations and other people's expectations. You care about what Allah's expectation is on you.
Exactly. And you don't worry about these like materialistic goals of like having like this perfect life and this like whole idea that like you like graduate university and then you have to like just like have like you like work to like have like the best like kind of apartment, and then you have like a big house, and then like what are you doing to save up for your retirement? How are you providing for your family? We were talking about this before, because there's so many things like that the dunya wants you to like have to manage, and there's so much fitna in this world to like steer you away from like Allah and
all
like
these distractions
to like steer you away from Allah and like lose focus of that stuff. And then you start to like miss your prayers or like not read Quran regularly and like stuff like that because you just start prioritizing this world, and it's so much added stress when you can instead just like focus on Allah and focus on like pleasing only Allah.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean like, oh, completely forget about your dunya. Like we're not like these like monks living in the mountains, but like the deen was made for you to implement into your life, right? So when you just by you implementing like, you know, practices of like Islam into your life, it's literally like, it's like, you know, like you get barakah in it, like just by doing that, right? And just reminding yourself and renewing that intention, like, hey, like this job that I want to go into, it's for the sake of Allah. Hey, I'm providing for my family, I'm being good to people, my akhlaq is good, it's all for the sake of Allah. Everything you do, you just have to renew your intention, because then you just remind yourself there's a bigger picture. Like going into Jannah, that is our goal. That's the bigger, that's like where we want to eventually go to. And these little things that are leading up to it, like there's going to be difficulties, there's going to be challenges, we're not going to be perfect all together. We just have to have sabr and tawakkul in Allah. Like that's literally the only, like those are like the two main duas like I've been praying every single night, sabr and tawakkul in Allah, because when you have those things, you can be at peace, you can just you know, relax.
And like even like having like taqwa is like a really, it's called taqwa, right? Consciousness, God consciousness, that's taqwa, right?
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Having like taqwa in like every single thing you do, fearing Allah in everything that you do, it provides you so much more peace as well, because you're living your life to please Allah. And that doesn't just mean like okay, I'm gonna pray like sunnahs today and I'm gonna read Quran today to please Allah, and then you go off and like the work that you do or the interactions you have with people are not pleasing to Allah. The interactions you have with your parents are not like pleasing to Allah, because having like God consciousness is like trying to please Allah in every aspect of your life. Every moment of your life, you should like reflect for a moment. And I heard this from like an Islamic lecture, like
Islamic lecture, just generic Islamic lecture.
Yes, it's not my own words. I just need to like cite my sources, but not specifically though. What was I saying? Every aspect of your life and every moment of your life, you just need to take a moment, pause, and reflect. How am I pleasing Allah right now?
Oh my God.
Is what I'm doing pleasing to Allah? And how do I show my love for Allah right now in this situation?
Wait, like pause and reflect. Okay, yo, like literally like something that helped me, I feel like, protect my peace is like writing down like my thoughts, writing down my emotions, and writing down my experiences, pausing and reflecting on what happened that day or what happened like at that moment, and like reflecting on my emotions, reflecting on, you know, why I think I felt that way or why that happened or whatever. Just writing my experiences down and having like my experiences, like I don't know, like just keeping a memory of my experiences through my writing. I feel like it really helps, because venting out, I feel like it's a very good way to like, you know, release your emotions and like, you know, help yourself. But sometimes venting to other people, like, and being vulnerable to other people, it's okay to accept help, but at the same time, you don't want to just like throw everything and give everything, all your experiences.
And another thing is like when you're like venting to other people, very, very often it starts off as venting, talking about your opinion, but then it kind of branches off into like backbiting, because you're like, oh, this experience happened because this person did this. And
you don't want you like expressing your emotions to find peace to have gone into backbiting and sin.
Like when an interaction starts becoming sinful, you need to stop and reflect and be like, what am I doing right now? I need to like stop this.
I need to distance myself from this environment.
Even like venting to other people, it's not necessarily protecting your peace, because other people can very easily like, you can lose
switch
them,
up,
right?
And they can also like give their opinions, which may not necessarily like, you know, be like I guess like what's that called? It's not like aligning with yours, or it makes you re-question your thing. And also sometimes, I'm just gonna be very real with you, a lot of people, when you're venting to them, they just get annoyed, or they're like, why am I taking their stress? Like why are they venting to me? Why are they giving me like their stress? And it's just like, it's like very like, you know, it feels really bad. Like, and you know, you never know what's in people's heart. And that's not to say you can't share your experiences. Obviously, go ahead. But
if you need advice from other people, like obviously, like reach out. Like it's really important. Even reach out to us. Reach out through the Happy Strong Family Instagram, and we will like give you advice and we will support you as best as we can. But like we know that sometimes like reaching out to like random people, they can very easily turn on you. Like I mean, like don't have trust issues and stuff like that, but don't share your entire life.
It's a
like
very like
keep things
hard
to
thing.
yourself.
Yeah, it's a very thing to like
hard thing to balance, right?
Yeah.
Like you can keep to yourself, like
but keeping things to yourself, you know, for example, not posting everything that you do on social media or and stuff like that, and just living your life private and like, you know, enjoying the little things without having to worry about the validation of other people. Because at the end of the day, sometimes posting, you know, I guess that will work, blah blah blah, but a lot of the times it's also like I want people to know what experiences I'm going through, you know, like the stuff that I'm doing, like, you know, like,
and very often it can lead to like evil eye. Like you don't want to get like nazar on like the stuff you do, because if you just, we notice that every time we have fun together, it usually ends up with us like not posting anything. And like
there's so much more barakah in it. And I feel like when
and you like live in the moment a lot more. And like the way to like document those is like take photos, of course, like that's fun. Like looking back at photos is fun, but they don't need to be blasted for everybody. You can keep it to yourself.
Keep your fun time to yourself, like, because you'll know, like, people, okay, this is what I was saying like last year, because this is something I was really working on last year. But it's like people who like know, who are in your life will know who you are, will know your experiences through conversation and stuff like that, and it's more authentic that way. And people will know your type, your personality and who you are, and will like be able to like, you know, I guess appreciate, if you want, your experiences and stuff like that more than rather you posting and like 500 people are like there to see like your story or whatever it is.
Exactly. And like both your like good deeds and your bad deeds, like just like keep it to yourself. We know like good deeds, we shouldn't share like our good deeds, because we should have like ikhlas, like keep it like what was the word, like it's a secret, like private, keep it sincere with just like you and Allah, like knowing about your good deeds, right? And like your bad deeds, of course, we know, keep our bad deeds private.
Publicize your sins.
Don't publicize your sins. It's like a big like thematic statement on our podcast. Don't publicize your sins. We see people publicizing their sins all the time, and it's so sad. It's so sad, and it's so difficult, because you know, like
sometimes the sins that you do, it's like cool or whatever. Like, but it's like keep your experiences to yourself. People who are in your life, people who give effort to you, and people who you want to give effort to, they'll know about it, and their validation, I guess, sometimes like their, what they think, their opinions and stuff like that of people that you care about, that's what really matters. Not anyone else. And like always worrying about what other people are going to say, how people are going to interpret what you post or what you say or what you do, it's a headache, and it's like not protecting your peace.
Exactly. And like it's really important to like surround yourself with good people, of course. And like most of the time, those good people are people who are on the same path as you, right? People who like also like have their entire purpose and goal of their life is to please Allah, right? And that's why like even though like we disagree a lot, our personalities like really contrast one another. I know like maybe like we talk the same, because a lot of people have said that we like talk the same.
She changed the way I talked, and it was like
because you're always trying to be me. But a lot of people have said that we talk the same, but actually a lot of the things like we disagree a lot of the time.
Like majority of the times we're like disagreeing. Like our personalities are so different. Like it's crazy. But because we're friends for the sake of Allah, because our like friendship is for the sake of Allah, and we're trying to get closer to Jannah, subhanallah, there is so much barakah in it. And I just, it's so crazy to me, because I wouldn't think I'd be like friends with somebody like her, and she wouldn't be like friends with somebody like me. But it's so weird how we just, instead of contrasting, it's like complementing each other's personality.
Because we're both have like these different perspectives on how to get closer to Allah and how to please Allah. And like when we're both working towards that same goal, there's so much barakah in our friendship. Alhamdulillah, there's so much barakah in our friendship that like, you know, like during Ramadan, we always find that like our friendship, not always fine. I mean, like we only got closer like last Ramadan, but this Ramadan came back again, and
we were like talking about it and reflecting on it.
And every time we have like these like iman boosting experiences where we're like, we both like go to like a lecture together, or like something, or we both go to lectures separately, and then we have to like come together and like dissect the lecture.
And we like talk about what we learned from each of the lectures that we went to.
We gotta like write down notes and stuff like that to make sure we like talk about everything. But
so
like
nerdy, oh my god.
But when we're both focusing on the deen, we agree on every point. Like, alhamdulillah, like when we're talking about that stuff, those conversations can last hours. Like, it can last into the night, from the night into the morning.
Literally. And it's like so weird because maybe our life and our viewpoints on different aspects of our life is like different, but then the way we can implement the deen into our life separately, it's wow, like it's crazy. It's and it gives you a perspective, like a different perspective. And I feel like that's what we also want to do on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys different perspectives. Okay, anyways, going back to protecting your peace, yes, surround yourself with good people. It's hard to like make good friends and make good friends that last. And especially having them be Muslim too. That's like so much criteria for like one person to fulfill, or like a few people to fulfill. But if your friends are not good for you, if they're not bringing you closer to Allah, like prioritize Allah in that case.
Yeah.
Compromise on those friendships for the sake of Allah.
Or like, I feel like that was a very important thing, but keep that halal distance.
Keep a halal distance.
Keep that halal distance and like, obviously always have good akhlaq. Show like what's that called? Set an example of what the deen should be like. And that's really difficult and that's like a lot of burden, but
a lot of pressure for sure. Yeah, like trying to like be a representative of Islam, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but when you love Islam, you would automatically want to get closer to it. It's like your own drive. And that's something I feel like especially as like, young people, I guess, the youth. Like I feel like we're just, because other people are keeping us accountable, maybe our parents or whatever, we forget to keep ourselves accountable. Take responsibility of yourself, make decisions for yourself, and that's how you're going to protect your peace. When you take charge of your life and when you keep yourself accountable, when you want to get closer to Allah, when you want to accomplish a goal, when you figure out yourself and you take responsibility of yourself, then you'll like find your peace.
Yes, because you're like on your own journey. Live in your own bubble. I know, like I'm somebody
be delusional, be the main character, all
be
that
clueless
stuff.
and be lost. Like I am such a clueless, lost person. It's because I live in my own bubble. Like when you like live in your own bubble, stop caring about other people. Like even like there's a hadith that like the most common reason, I don't know what the exact phrasing is, but most of the people that go into hell is because of their tongue. And to avoid spreading fitna and doing haram and sinning through your tongue and through your voice, I don't mean like avoid interacting with people, but avoid those haram situations where like it's going to fall into like the wrong thing. If like when you hang out with like a certain group of people, you always end up talking gossip. Avoid that situation because prioritize Allah. Like just prioritize Allah and you will have that peace. Gossiping literally like it provides you so much burden because then you're like, oh wow, like this was so sinful.
And then it's like, oh, like what if this person finds out what I say, or like maybe I didn't even mean all of that, just like people were talking about it, so I was like, let me just go in and like let me share like some opinion.
Let me just add my own joke to this and let's just like laugh at like how this person like was like a certain way, blah blah blah. I don't know, but like you regret it in the end. Whatever, like sin has like a sweet taste in the moment, but you have so much regret as time passes. And last few points.
No, I think we're good.
We're done?
Yeah, we're done.
Oh, okay, guys. Feel accomplished about yourself. Feel proud of yourself.
Saying he keeps spamming the comments.
No, who is that? Who is that?
No.
I want to display his comments because he's taking the time to write them, and
let's take a look.
Let's take a look. You guys want to read it?
Alhamdulillah, great work. Mashallah, tabarakallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you success and tawfiq. Continue inspiring the youth. Build a productive young generation and eventually great leaders. Ameen.
Ameen.
Next one.
MashaAllah greatly mentioned that our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should drive shaping our mindset, behavior, and character in a beautiful way to parents, family, friends, community, and humanity. That is exactly our point.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, wow. Amazing. 200% agree. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our only creator, the best planet, the most loving, and our Rabb. He puts us in tests to improve / rise above. Sins get removed via via test process. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Who is that strange man?
He's got some good stuff to say. Okay. Anyways,
I think that's it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week, In Sha
we
Allah.
encourage you guys to protect your peace. However we said, and however you think you should protect your peace. Avoid unnecessary stress in your life. Make your life easier for yourself and get closer to Allah and your parents and your good friends through that process. In Sha Allah.